What is up? Welcome to my channel. My name is Taylor Berenger. I am a body acceptance coach for women identifying dancers. And what I do is I help women identifying dancers make peace and love their bodies. So today I wanted to come on here and share my story around body acceptance as a dancer. And actually, this video was supposed to be a live. I was gonna go live on my YouTube channel, and then I tried to go live and I realized my channel wasn't compatible with going live yet. And I didn't know that. I didn't know that there was those details. I'm still learning the back ends of YouTube, to be honest. This is only like my third video. Um, so I decided to just come on here real quick with a very real video, and this video is not going to be edited at all. This is going to go straight from my camera onto YouTube, just to keep it really real, and because I was planning on going live but now I can't. I wanted to come on today and talk about my journey with accepting my body as a dancer and just share where I come with all of the tools and all of the things that I talk about, and share where all of those things come from, because they all come from my own journey healing my own relationship with my body. It's not just like I'm pulling things out of thin air and just like sharing them with you without trying them myself. Everything that I share with you, I have already used, embodied, and live by. And it's really important for me to share my story to you, because I want you to feel like you can trust me with all of the information I share on here. And that's really my intention with sharing my story today, is for you to know me. For you to know me so that you can feel into, so you can see if you can trust the information that I share with you about how to accept and love your body. So welcome in. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button below. I had to make a little bit of an edit there because my camera shut off, but we're back in business. Yeah, so my story, let's begin. Like, how do I even start this? I started off dancing like any other, I guess, kid starts dancing. I went to a studio, I trained a lot. I knew I wanted to be a dancer, so I put everything I had into it, even as a young kid. And as I was on this journey of putting everything I had into being a dancer, I also started to put everything I had into having the perfect body. And I started to correlate the the relationship between my body being perfect and being a dancer, or my body being perfect and me being enough, or everything around my life started to begin to correlate around just my body and my body image. And the way that I see this when I look back was because I spent so much time on my body. I spent so much time as a dancer looking in the mirror and judging my body to see if it was looking enough. And as time went on, my subconscious brain, and I know this now looking back, I didn't know this then, but looking back, I now know that my brain, the way that I was perceiving my experience as a dancer, was that everything was tied around my physical body. My worth was tied around my physical body. And for the most part, I went to a pretty supportive dance studio. So it wasn't like I was going to this like really toxic space. It was pretty supportive. I had a couple toxic teachers, but for the most part, it was pretty supportive. But the way that my body and my mind was taking in the information of what I thought it meant to be a dancer, I started to wrap my worth around my body. And another thing that I want to mention that's really important is my upbringing. And I mention this because this is part of the work that I do in my containers with my clients, as well as really healing how we grew up with the families and the experiences that we had. Because it's not just dance that plays a part in our relationships with our bodies. It's what happens when we went home. What happened when you went home around your body? How did that affect your relationship with your body? And then how did that affect the way that you showed up in the studio later? And so I grew up with parents who were CrossFit trainers. And so I would go home, and the constant conversation was around the physical body. It was around, what workouts did we do today? What are we eating today? What are we not eating today? What diet are we doing? How are you eating this? Everything was wrapped around my physical body and just everybody's body in the house. And the way that I started to look at it again was my worth was tied around my body. When I ate really healthy, I would get praise. When I would get attention, right? When I did workouts, I would get attention. When I worked really hard in dance, I would get attention. When people saw my body, I would get attention. So I started to realize that, oh, my body is just this tool to get me love. And in order for my body to get me love, I had to start showing up perfect in it. I had to perfect the way that my body looked, and that was the only way I could receive love and attention, and that I was worthy of succeeding, that I was worthy of being a dancer. And I began to really form so much stress and anxiety around my body. And to be honest, I was constantly thinking and stressing about how my body looked. I remember like sitting in school in high school, and I would wear these short shorts and this crop top to school because everything was wrapped around my physical body, because that's how I received attention. And constantly thinking about how I looked, and constantly not feeling good enough, and constantly sucking in my stomach and holding myself and trying to eat all of the things that were going to make me have the perfect body, and not eat all of the things that were not. Like, this was going on while I was still in high school. It was a constant obsession. Now, I was never diagnosed with an eating disorder, and I wouldn't say that I ever had diagnosable eating disorder, right? But I did internally have this secret struggle. And that's what I really like to call my own experience, was that it was a secret struggle, because it was a struggle that nobody could see on the outside. Everybody else saw, oh, she's really strong. Oh, she works really hard on her body. Oh, wow, she must love herself a lot because she has big goals and she pursues them. And wow, like, she has a really great body. And so nobody saw the struggle that was happening internally, but actually internally I was facing so much anxiety and stress around my body, to the point where later on in my life I actually started to develop digestive issues inside of myself, because of the stress and anxiety I was holding in my body, of needing to be perfect all of the time. And that's actually something that happened later on in my life. I started to see signs of IBS. I was having severe stomach cramps like every single night. I would come home from teaching dance class, and I'm skipping ahead a little bit here. Excuse me. And I would have these severe stomach cramps because my body was just rejecting how much stress and anxiety that I was putting on myself to show up perfect all of the time. And I didn't really know how trapped I actually was until I actually started to do the work around freeing myself from all of this. I didn't know how trapped I was. I thought this was the norm, honestly. Like, I thought feeling this way, obsessing over my body all of the time, not feeling good enough in my body all of the time, feeling like I had to constantly prove myself was the norm. Like that was how I was supposed to feel if I was going to be a dancer. And I think that is a very that's a rampant belief that we have as dancers, and that's like really running so much of the dance industry. And that's why so many of us dancers struggle with body image issues, body dysmorphia, eating disorders, abuse, right, sexual abuse, all so many things, because we are in this belief that in order to be loved, my body has to be perfect. Or in order to be loved, I have to work really hard to the brink of my existence, right? And that's just simply not true. And this is one of the things that I want to share with you today is what is actually possible when you do the work around your body to free yourself from these things and step into body acceptance and body love and self-love. Is there's so much more available to you, and I didn't know how much was available to me when I was stuck in this place. I thought this was it. I thought this was how life was as a dancer, just like as a woman, to be honest. Um, and so as I was training to be a dancer, I actually got pregnant at 18 years old and I had my son at 19. And obviously um, this event completely changed my life and the direction of where my life was going, because you can't really pursue a dance career while you're pregnant and right after you have a baby. You can't really do that. And so it completely changed the directory of where my life was going. And I was still dancing and I was still teaching dance, so it wasn't like I just stopped. Um, but as I was going through this process, and right after I had my son, and I came into this place where I couldn't really do things at the caliber that I was doing them before. I couldn't stay at the studio super late. I couldn't. I mean, I couldn't really move after having my son. Everything shifted. The way my body looked shifted. The way I moved shifted, and really came into this space in my life where a lot of things about my body and like my identity around my body started to shift, really without, I guess, my ego's permission. And what happened was I was in this place where everything was different about my body, and I started to realize that how much of my worth was tied around my physical body, how worthless I felt that I couldn't go work out really hard, or I couldn't go dance for hours and hours and hours because now I was a new mom. And so this event completely like opened up my eyes to my insecurities and what was actually going on. And maybe you haven't had a baby, or you're not going to right now, and you don't have that big life event to really shift things. Or maybe you have and it's something different. Maybe you have had an injury where you had to like step back for a second and you realized, whoa, like a lot is tied around my physical body. Or you haven't had this and this is what this video is for you, and you're realizing, wow, I feel this way too. You don't have to have a kid or things to rapidly change for this realization to come in for you and for you to be deserving of these shifts. You don't have to have that big life event for you to be deserving of these shifts. You get to have everything that is available to you. You get to have all of the freedom around your body by just you being exactly where you're at. So that was what has shifted everything. And as I started to have these realizations, I really started to go on my own healing journey around my body. So I started to explore different healing modalities, and really diving into more of a holistic way of healing. So I never did any kind of talk therapy, and I know that is a very popular modality that a lot of dancers are turning to right now, especially in the pandemic. And with everything going on, I'm hearing a lot of mental health advocates for dancers, which is absolutely amazing. But for me, my journey really took a more holistic path. So I started to dive into more holistic healing modalities around healing my relationship with my body. And I'm going to share them in a second, and like what really did help me heal my relationship with my body. But the reason why I took this more holistic path was because the things that these mental health people were telling me, or these mindset people were telling me of how to love my body, was, you know, say affirmations to yourself, convince yourself that you love your body. There are all of these tools that were just trying to tell me to convince myself that I loved my body. And I really just felt like there was something missing, because there was a human part of me that hated my body. There was a human part of me that still felt insecure. There was a human part of me that still felt not enough. I could tell myself that I was enough 5 billion times, and yet my body still didn't believe it. Yet I still walked into a dance studio and I would constantly compare myself to other dancers. All the things, right? I still didn't believe I was good enough. Doing all of the mindset work. Reason why I felt the way I felt inside of my body, that I didn't feel enough, was not because anything was wrong with me, but because I experienced different experiences and traumas, and I took on different beliefs around my body during my life. And the work that I started to do was healing the traumas that I experienced, and healing the beliefs and the wounds from the root of why I believed that up. And that's the work that I do today, is healing from the bottom up. It's not trying to convince yourself that you're enough. We will never do that here. It's going from, why do you actually feel this way? What happened in your life that caused you to feel this way about your body? How did you grow up? What beliefs were passed down to you from your lineage, right? What beliefs were passed down from you from your dance teachers? What experiences really cultivated this distortion within your own body image and the way you feel in your body? And that's the path we take, because when we can go from the bottom up, that's where the freedom lies. So, what did I do to heal my relationship with my body? I'm gonna make this really quick because there's so much to talk about. So, the number one thing this is actually what I started with to start healing my relationship with my body. And this was starting to really pay attention to just like my human body as a woman. And so, starting to pay attention to my menstrual cycle. Oh, I have a menstrual cycle. And even if you don't bleed, right? A lot of dancers don't bleed because of the conditions that our bodies are put under, and that's something that I'm working on changing here as well, because it's really important for us to bleed. It's really important for our hormones to have this cycle. Um, and so it was really starting to pay attention to, oh, I do have a menstrual cycle. And within this menstrual cycle, I experience different energies and different ways of feeling in my body. Some weeks, as a person who has a menstrual cycle, we feel energized. Some weeks, we don't. And number two, the second thing that I really started to dive into around healing my relationship with my body, and this made such a big difference, was diving into work around worthiness to feel pleasure, around worthiness to experience love, to love myself without needing to work for it. And this is one of the big realizations that my clients always have, and one of the big shifts that happens within my containers. This is one of the biggest shifts that has happened within my own body, is that no longer am I working for my worth. My worth is not determined on my physical body, of what my physical body does or looks like. I believe I am worthy innately worthy of love and pleasure, no matter what. And so, what comes out of this when we feel this way, when we do work around this, we can now eat for pleasure, right? That's one of the biggest things that has shifted for me. I can eat for pleasure now, and I don't feel guilty about it. I can rest, and I don't feel guilty about it. I can work out and I can dance and I can train without constantly questioning if I'm doing enough, right? I can just pleasure in general, like sexual pleasure and just like pleasure in general. Like so much more is available to me and is available to you when you stop believing that you have to prove yourself to be enough to have it, and you can open up and just receive it as the woman in the body that you are in right now. And that was the biggest shift for me. And one of the biggest things that I've dove into that has completely shifted everything is work around worthiness. So, number three, and this is the biggest one, this has 100% been the thing that has helped me shift my relationship to my body and start loving my body. And this is breath work. And you're going to hear me talk about breath work so much on this channel because it has changed so much for me. And breath work is a healing modality that pretty much allows you to go into your body and heal your relationship to your body, to your life, to yourself through healing and releasing trauma and emotion from the body. So, our bodies hold on to trauma, traumatic experiences from our past, from our generational, our bodies hold on to generational trauma from our parents' past, grandparents' past, etc., etc. Um, and our bodies hold on to it, and they hold on to it because we are in the beliefs of that we are not safe, right? We feel that we are not safe to be in our bodies unless our bodies are perfect. And so we hold on to this trauma, and by holding on to this trauma, we keep repeating that belief over and over and over. And what breathwork does is it gives your body a safe space to feel and let your body go through the process of feeling, healing, and releasing the trauma. And this is what I'm talking about from going from the root up of why you feel this way. It allows you to go from the root up. And so breathwork has been the main thing that has completely shifted my relationship with my body. And I'm going to make a whole video just about breathwork. So many more videos about breathwork, to be honest. So look out for those. But I'm going to keep this short and end this right now because I don't want it to be too long. But if you want to try breathwork, just remember I have that free breathwork audio down in the description. And it's going to take you through a 30-minute breathwork meditation where basically you do a breath pattern over and over and over to bring yourself into a meditative state where your body can do the work to release the belief around your body not being good enough and step into deeper love and connection and peace within your body. And it's going to take you through a 30-minute journey, all for free, doing that, and it's going to completely transform your relationship with your body. I can 100% tell you that. And I think that's where we're going to end it today. I actually want to say this real quick because I actually wrote this down right here. And it was a quote that came through me to share with you today. So I want to read it to you right now. And that is, there is so much pleasure when you can go to the depths of your pain and insecurities and still hold love for yourself. I'll read that one more time. There is so much pleasure when you can go to the depths of your pain and your insecurities and still hold love for yourself, because oftentimes we judge ourselves for our insecurities, and that's why we're in this grip of not feeling enough. But when we can hold love for ourselves, even in the depths of our humanness, like, oh, we're human, we're gonna feel, that's when the acceptance and the freedom and the pleasure just comes in such an abundance. All right, go download that breathwork meditation in the description below. I will see you next week for another video, and I hope that you're having a beautiful day. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I forgot to say that, but you don't forget to hit that subscribe button. All right,